Carletha, 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 I'm gonna need you to sit down and talk to these people because they have you out here looking like a plum fool. You're gonna have to sit down and talk to law enforcement and fill in these gaps because they have you out here looking like a plum fool. So initially, well, the last time that I made a video about Carlee Russell, I had said that I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt because I'm not just going to jump to she's a liar, she's a liar, she's a liar when we really have no idea exactly what happened. So so I did get a chance to watch the press conference that the Hoover Police Department did. And when I listened to everything that the chief of police said, like step by step chronological order of the facts. He kept on stressing, these are the facts. These are not opinions. These are the facts of what happened. So after he went through all of that, I mean, I'm a believer that Carletha probably made up this whole entire story. What really sold me was when they did the search on her computer or her phone or whatever it was, and her Google searches showed some very interesting disturbing things. So, as we all know, Miss Russell says that she was abducted because she had seen a child wandering on the road, on the side of the road of I-459 at night, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. And so she had to call 911 to report that there was a child wandering all by themselves in a diaper. And the data, okay, because when you're on the phone, I guess with 911, obviously they can track where you're at. And the data showed that as she was on the phone with 911, and I guess as she was, driving alongside the child, she had driven about 600 yards. And so the chief of police said that there's just no way that it was plausible that this child at this age, young enough to be wearing a diaper, but could have been as old as 3 or 4 years old, would walk 600 yards, which is equivalent to 6 football fields, without meandering into the woods or meandering onto the road and just stay in this linear line for 600 yards. That just didn't seem really plausible. So as she's talking to her sister-in-law and also trying to talk to the child, Miss Russell says that a man with orange hair and a big bald spot jumped out of the woods and grabbed her. At first the man said he was, looking for his child or checking on his child, and it ended up grabbing her and put her into a 18-wheeler, and he was with a female, but she said that she never really looked at the female, never really saw the female. So they put her in this 18-wheeler and they took her to a house of some sort, I think, or they put her in the 18-wheeler, and then she escaped. Then they caught her again and put her in a car, and they took her to a house where they made her undress and they took photos of her. And at some point that day or the next day, she remembers the woman playing with her hair. She remembers the woman feeding her crackers. And I think the significance of the crackers is that she had, after she left her job Friday or Thursday night, I think it was, after she left her job, she had stopped by like a pharmacy store and she had bought some snacks, granola bars and Cheez-Its, crackers. So I don't know if the woman fed her Cheez-Its or I think she said crackers and child. Look, her abductor was playing with her hair and feeding her crackers. Carletha. You know how sometimes when someone is not telling the truth, they tend to embellish and they add like these little minute details to appear like they're telling the truth because they think that if I make this story as detailed as possible, it's going to appear like I'm telling the truth. Instead of just telling one big generalized story, they give you all the little tiny minutia to seem more believable. This is what I'm getting from Carletha. So she said that she was able to escape. They didn't tie her hands or anything because according to Carlee, they told her that they didn't want to leave bruises or marks on her wrists. So they never tied her hands. So somehow she was able to escape. and she realized that she was close to home when she made that decision to try to run away from these people. And she escaped with minor injuries on her lip and her head, and she also had $107 in her sock. It sounds like a very poorly made movie, but it sounds like a movie nonetheless. So Carlee, you might have, once the strike is over in Hollywood, the writer strike, you may have an opportunity to work in Hollywood as a movie writer, because this is bizarre. Your story is very, very bizarre. They jump out of the woods. You're lured by a baby. Then a man with orange hair and a big old bald spot, not just a bald spot, but a big old bald spot, jumps out of the woods, grabs you, puts you in a 18-wheeler. You're able to escape that. They grab you again, put you in a car, take you to a hotel, make you strip, take pictures of you. The next day, they're playing with your hair and feeding you crackers. You're able to escape again because they never tied you up. And you show up at your parents' house with minor injuries and $107 in your sock. Let's kind of take it back a little bit. So when she left her place of employment Thursday night, she took things from her job. She took a robe, and what else did she take? She took a robe and I forgot, there was something else that she took. So she took a bathrobe. Oh, toilet paper. She took a robe and toilet paper. I know there's somebody out there that's going to be like, oh, obviously she took it because of ABCD. I don't know why she took a robe and toilet paper from her place of employment. So she took items from her place of employment, and she stopped by a pharmacy store to get Cheez-Its. On her way home, sees a child. It gets abducted by Ronald McDonald with a bald spot. Gets put into an 18-wheeler. Escapes, gets caught again, puts into a car, taken to a hotel, taking pictures of her naked body, escapes again, ends up at... It's not like, a Paramount type of movie. Yeah, it is definitely it's giving Tubi vibes, but it's definitely, you do have the imagination to do something with. Okay, you can make money off of your imagination. So what really sold me that she was probably not telling the truth, believe it or not, this is what sold me. Of course, other people were like, well, as soon as I heard the story, I knew that it wasn't true. But what really, really sealed the deal for me was her Google searches. Because why are you searching things related to running away and being abducted, and then you end up being abducted? Like, why are you making these searches right before, your so-called kidnapping? So these are the things that she was searching online that was extremely suspicious. She was searching, do you have to pay for an Amber Alert? How to take money from a register without being caught? Now, I wonder if that's where the $107 came from, if it came from the register at her job. She was searching information for a Birmingham bus station, one-way bus ticket from Birmingham to Nashville. She was searching information about the movie Taken, which is about a young lady being kidnapped. I think Liam Neeson stars in that movie, and Liam Neeson was like, don't you get me involved in this. She was searching the maximum age for Amber Alerts. Carletha, you're done. Girl, you're done. Her parents were interviewed this morning on the Today Show, and they believe her, because they're her parents, so they believe her. They claim that they believe her, but you know what? They know their daughter better than any of us. And I know her parents know the what's up. I know her parents know the what's up. When her mom was getting emotional on the Today Show, in my opinion, it wasn't because she was like, oh, this tragedy that happened to my child. I think she was getting emotional because her daughter is in the middle of a scandal and probably is not going to be able to find her way out of it. I think that's why the mom was getting emotional. They know the what's up. They know the what's up, okay? But they want to save face because it's an embarrassment that you put law enforcement, not just, Hoover Police Department, but the FBI, state police, all types of people were involved in looking for this woman when she was just, chilling in the cut somewhere, biding her time until she just moseys on along to her parents' house. It's embarrassing. The amount of money, the amount of energy spent, the concerns, the prayers, the well wishes. It's really people donating money. One donor donated $25,000 to aid in the search and recovery of Carlee. $25,000. By the way, it was a total of about $65,000 donated as reward money that would lead to finding Carlee. And that should be the name of the documentary for this, Finding Carlee. There's about $65,000 collected. That money is still in the pot. The last I read, that money is still in the pot. It has not been returned because it is still an ongoing investigation. You have people out here worried and scared that, oh my God, I can never help a child ever again because, people are using children as bait. Normally, when someone is a victim of a crime and they're able to, even if they're not able to, but if they're able to escape it or survive it, the focus is placed on the perpetrators. If someone comes out and says, hey, I was kidnapped, I was assaulted, whatever happened to me, the focus is always placed on the perpetrator and locating the perpetrator. So the victim is going to give as much information as they possibly can. And, we would have already seen like a sketch artist or a sketch drawing of this Ronald McDonald looking character with a bald spot. We would have already had seen that. They would have already had put that on the news that this is what she says this person looks like, because we need to get to these people as soon as possible because they're a threat to society. We have to rescue the baby. We have to catch these people. That didn't even happen because the concentration, the focus was always on Carlee, because from the beginning, people said her story did not make any sense. So she talked to them initially, but it wasn't an in-depth type of interview. And so law enforcement, they want to talk to her again, but she has not granted a second interview. And so they're just waiting for her. They're just biding their time. Carlita, go ahead and talk to these people. Get this over with as soon as possible. The sooner you talk to them, the sooner all of this is going to be over. Tell them what you got to tell them. Please be truthful. Don't try to justify. Don't try to defend. Just be honest and open and transparent and truthful. It seems like life was lifing for you, because the internet is talking about how she was having some major issues with her boyfriend, Thomas, that he was cheating on her. She was going back and forth with the girl that he was cheating on her with. So maybe that was causing her to want to run away from her problems. I don't know, but this is the guy that I put on Facebook, how she was fighting for her life for 2 days. How are you fighting for your life for 2 days when you're being fed cheese and crackers and the woman that abducted you or assisted in your abduction is playing with your hair? So anywho, maybe she was having some boyfriend issues because, the internet, the streets are saying that that he was cheating on her. I don't know. Go ahead and sit down and talk to these. We have a conversation with law enforcement. Yes, you may be charged. The sooner you face the music, the sooner all of this is going to be over with. Girl, tell your story, because right now everybody and their mom is telling their story for you. Tell your story. We're still gonna have a hard time believing you, okay? But tell them something. So have a conversation with them. Tell them, look, life caught up with me. I was stressed the hell out. I had anxiety. I was drowning in anxiety. I don't know why I did this, but yes, I made up this whole story about being kidnapped because I was trying to run away from my problems. I don't know. But girl, this has happened before. I don't know if you've ever heard, Miss Carlita, I don't know if you ever heard of the story of that Pepin woman who lied about being kidnapped. Yeah. This has happened before. You need to pay attention to the news. Pay attention to what's going on around you, because it did not turn out good for her. And if you would have known what happened to that lady, I don't think you would have done any of this. Like, how in the world are you going to get law enforcement involved in your shenanigans? It's so many people walk away from their life, right? So many people end up disappearing, right? We hear these stories all the time. They're almost like daily, where, family calls law enforcement. Hey, my daughter's missing. She hasn't been home in a couple of days. Next thing you know, the daughter shows up, but the daughter doesn't call law enforcement. It's like the family that's concerned. They're the ones that end up calling, and they have a right to call law enforcement. Then the person shows up. Hey, I needed a break. I was stressed out, whatever, fighting with my family, fighting with my boyfriend, etc. They'll leave for a couple of days and they come back home. She was the one, Carlethearussell. She was the one that contacted law enforcement and dragged them into her drama. Okay, she was the one that did that. And that's where she messed up. If life was life, and she should have just walked away, let her family be the ones to contact 911. She should have just walked away. This whole thing about I saw a child and the man took me. It's like, what? So there were some hardcore believers of Carlee, hardcore believers of her. I was not hardcore. I was just like, let's give her the benefit of the doubt until more information comes up, because we don't really know what happened. So now more information has come up, and yes, it does look like she made up those internet searches. Girl, you're 25 years old, so you are part of this generation that grew up on technology and the internet and all this other. You know how this stuff works. Whatever you do on your phone or your computer, you're leaving, what do they call it, digital footprint. They're going to catch you. They're going to find all that out. You're searching Amber Alerts. You're searching information on Amber Alerts. The movie Taken. Child. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I don't think I've missed anything else. I think I got it all. You know, trying to get the hell out of Birmingham to go to Nashville. The movie Taken. How to take money from a cash register without being caught. Okay. A child walking 6 football fields. No, ma'am. This is not a good look. I don't know what to tell you other than sit down, have a conversation with these people, get this over with, ask for forgiveness, take your punishment, take this L, and then just move on with your life, girl. Just move on with your life. And the question came up during the press conference. The question came up, well, because this, young black lady, she lied about being kidnapped or whatever. So is this going to affect how law enforcement treats cases in the future when an African American woman ends up missing? And the chief of police was like, no, we investigate every crime, to the fullest. I don't like that question because that kind of lumps all African American women together. Like we all kind of got together and conspired, or we all have the same minds. I just don't like that question. When people say, well, now because, she's a black woman who lied about being kidnapped, they're never going to search for another black woman ever again. I know that there is a discrepancy between the attention given to white victims versus black victims. That is a fact. That is absolutely 100% true. There is definitely a discrepancy with the media attention. I'm not going to sit here and say that I've heard beyond a shadow of a doubt that there's a discrepancy on how these cases are handled. Now, I know that depending on your lifestyle, law enforcement might handle the case differently. Now, if you are a middle class victim who is kidnapped, I think they will definitely give more attention to that regardless of your race than if you were a homeless, meth addicted victim. You know what I'm saying? So it might have something to do with lifestyles and socioeconomic level, but I don't think law enforcement consciously is like, oh, this is a middle class young black woman who was abducted or kidnapped or murdered or whatever. We're not going to give her any attention because of that Carlee Russell chick. Carlee Russell lies, so they all lie. I don't know if I would go that far to make that conclusion that from here on out, law enforcement across the nation, they will never look for another African American female ever again because we all lie about being abducted. I don't think law enforcement is going to do that. I still have a little bit of hope and faith that the next time that a African American victim goes missing or whatever, law enforcement is still going to do their job. Okay. So yeah, it's not looking good for Carletha. Carletha, sit down and have a conversation with these people. They waiting on you, girl. They ain't going away. It's not like they're gonna forget. You think that you're gonna not show up or not contact them or not do the right thing and they're just gonna forget about it? No, ain't nobody gonna forget. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it on your way out. Please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.